Good evening and welcome to the midweek Bible study for the East Allen County Church of Christ. We're glad to have you with us this evening, and we welcome you if you're new. To begin with tonight, we're going to do a little housekeeping. I just wanted to let you know that this will be our final YouTube installment for these midweek devotionals. We will transfer over and start very soon, not immediately, but within a few weeks, we'll start putting these on Facebook. We already live stream our worship service to Facebook, and we want to be a little more consistent in where folks can go to hear the messages. Facebook gets a lot more responses than YouTube does. But for those of you who tune in, we love you and are grateful to have you. And we just want you to know where you can go and continue to get these at a point in the future. I'm going to take a little bit of vacation. And I hope you'll keep me in your prayers. We're just going to relax, let our hair down a little bit, and spend a little time, a little quiet time, and take a break. But for a couple of weeks. And that'll be the first 2 weeks of November. But after that, hopefully, we'll be back on track. And at that point, try to stream to Facebook, and as well as our worship services. So we have a Facebook page. Go to the Facebook page, and you'll be able to presently stream our worship services. We're at the end of a gospel meeting this week, and we invite you to go. We have all of our services for the gospel meeting recorded, save one, and that was last night's. But tonight's, I'm sure, will be recorded for your viewing. Dylan Cheney has been with us from the Steuben County Church of Christ, and we're so glad that Dylan is with us. He is a wonderful young preacher, and he gives me hope and encouragement about the future. He is a great example of what we want young people to be. He's got a beautiful family, and we wish them all the best. He's going to be with us tonight, though, so if you'd like, please turn over to the Facebook page this evening around 7 o'clock, and it will be live streamed. But if you miss it, you can also tune back in to that page later, and it'll be on the page, and you can view it at that time. Just trying to let you know what's going on, and we're trying to become more efficient and consistent in our streaming practices, and we thank you for being patient with us while we go through all this. So for this evening, we'll take a look real quickly at what it means to be willing to sacrifice time as well as money for the Lord's work. I have always been told, didn't realize how much it was this way until I got into ministry on a really full-time basis, but it's a lot easier to get money from people than it is time. People will readily give you money, and I appreciate the generosity of our brethren. I appreciate the generosity of those in the church, and we need those funds. I'm not saying we don't want money, but that's not my point tonight. My point tonight is that it's just simply easier to get money than it is to get time. And there's a reason for that. If a thing needs doing, and we lack the surplus cash to make it possible, a lot of good brethren will dig down deeper and do some things for themselves in order to get the Lord's work done. Maybe selling off possessions, like we read about in Acts chapter 4, where people sold possessions and gave the money to the apostles and laid it at their feet, meaning they could do with it as they pleased, disperse it among the needy. And so my brethren are famous for that. I have many times had the $100 handshake. I would be going on a mission trip somewhere. Sometimes I'd never even asked for funds. And there'd be people, they'd come up, the $100 handshake, if you don't know what that is, somebody rolls up a $100 bill or some other denomination, but they roll it up in their hand and they shake your hand and they give you the bill. It transfers possession, and that's their way of being humble about their contribution. And I've always tried to make sure we spent those funds wisely and well. But let's take a look at what it means to sacrifice time. Why is that such an issue? Money is valuable, but time is something you can never, ever get back. You can make more money. You might even make up for a loss. If you have a loss in funds for some reason, you lost it, it was taken, stolen, or maybe you made a bad investment. But you can make that money back, generally speaking, as long as it's not too awesome of an amount. But why is it that some people would rather write a check than give of their time? And I think it goes back to that word sacrifice. It's because time truly is a sacrifice. Time really is something that when we give it, it's gone. You don't get it back. I tell parents all the time who are new parents and they're exhausted. You know what it's like if you have ever brought an infant home. It is a full-time job. If it's two people involved, you're both exhausted. So when we think about those things, we have to understand that, of course, that time given to the development of that child is important, and we want to do it. We love that child. We don't question it. We don't complain about it, but we do it, and it is time that we don't get back. But the reward of that sacrifice is in a healthy, happy, developing child. And believe me, that's a reward all unto itself. But when we think about sacrificing time as God's people, when we become, say, adults and we give time in other ways, it's very difficult, for instance, to get people to perform in things in the church if it's on a Friday night or a Saturday even. It gets extremely difficult for people because they work during the week and people make plans for the weekend, and that's when they let their hair down. And it really is a sacrifice for people to be able to give of that time, to sacrifice that time. It would almost be easier for them to hire somebody to come and be in their place. I think some people would like to do that, and some people actually have done that, and I'm not going to get into all that. But our calendars are precious for a lot of reasons. One of the things that I have found in doing funerals is one of the common phrases is, we meet here too often. I was doing a funeral for a family, and one of the gentlemen who had met me at the previous funeral, who was a member of this family, I was doing another member of that family. I was doing the funeral for them. And he came to me and he said, we just meet here too often. And one of the things about funeral homes that makes them so difficult is not the fact just that you're saying goodbye to someone you love. That truly is a tough thing, and it's a horrible thing. It's a terrible day. But the other thing about funeral homes that make them very difficult for us to be around is the fact that they remind us of our mortality. They remind us that time is limited. It is not infinite. It is finite. It has a point at which it ends. And so our lives are that way. And we don't know exactly when that is. We could leave this world naturally in our older years. We could leave it earlier through disease or accident. But time is not guaranteed to us. I don't know today if I'll make it through this day. I hope I will. I plan on it. But the truth is, I don't really know what this day will bring, even a second from now. So as we talk about time, we understand that it has a great value to us. I'm a little older now. I'm not a senior, I don't think. I think to some people who are younger, I might seem that way. But the truth is that time is precious, and it gets to be more precious when you realize you have less and less of that resource. In Matthew 16:25, Jesus says, "For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." To give of my life, to sacrifice of my time, is literally to give up some of my life to something. So that might caution us. It might cause us to consider some of the things we do give our time to. Sometimes, and there's nothing wrong, by the way, with having moments in our lives that are not completely dedicated to everything else. We have to have the opportunity. I mentioned I was going on vacation. I don't go on vacations a lot. I go on trips to go see people. I go and do things like that. But those aren't vacations. Many times they have to do with somebody's spiritual life. They have to do with an important or big event or a problematic event. And those are not really vacations. I just don't really take a whole lot of those, and I have been told I should take more. But that being the case, there's nothing wrong with taking a vacation. There's nothing wrong with the fact that we let our hair down for just a little bit, however long it may be, and we say to ourselves, you know what, I'm just going to relax and breathe for a minute. I'm going to take a little bit of time to do that. But Jesus says that there is a reward for sacrificing our time for him, our lives for him. And of course, that is that we will find life in investing that into our relationship with Jesus. Jesus was never involved in anything that he wasn't willing to lay aside and put our needs first. Philippians 2 verses 5 to 8 tell us that very thing. There wasn't a time in Jesus' existence, his whole mission here was about us. Everything he did, seems like all that he went through was always about the mission of seeking and saving the lost. So I ask you today, how do you dedicate your time to the Lord? What do you do to give your time to the Lord? I hope that you find yourself with plenty of opportunity to serve. If you are wondering, how do I serve the Lord? What do I need to do? My recommendation would be to talk to your local eldership, your local minister, and I'm sure that they can steer you on the right path. I have never had a problem finding work for people who wanted to work. So if you look at yourself and you want to dedicate more of your time to the Lord, and I hope that you do, I pray that you will find the ways to do that. You will be richly blessed for it here and ultimately blessed for it in eternity. I wish the best for you, and I hope that you'll come over to Facebook and see us over there and allow us to take time to spend time with you there. And we hope to be far more consistent in our lessons and in our classes. We hope to get more classes online. That's one of the reasons that we're going to work on. We're actually working on getting equipment. It's fairly expensive, and we're working on figuring out how to do that. If anyone is an IT person and they would like to interject some ideas, I am more than happy to sit at your feet and be educated by your knowledge, because I'll be honest with you, I like technology, but this is streaming with permanently fixed equipment in our auditorium for church services is sort of a new thing to me. Fortunately, YouTube teaches us a lot, and I'm thankful to those people who spend time making YouTube videos to share with us some ideas about how to do that. I'm thankful for those people that take the time to make them and upload them. But all that being said, I love you, and I hope that you'll find yourself coming to visit us at some point, and we would love to meet you. If you have any questions, please call us at the number at the end of this video. Otherwise, Godspeed, and we'll see you on our new venue in a few weeks. Have a great night.